Finally, after 4 long years, we are finally back with Tower of God anime. And I am so happy because I have been waiting for season 2 of the anime to be adapted ever since 2 weeks after the end of season 1, where I decided to binge the entire manhwa in 2 weeks. And season 2 is one of my favorite seasons, especially the first arc of Tower of God season 2, the arc that they're going to be animating for this season, because it's one of the best stories in terms of storytelling and character developments and character moments that I've ever read. So, just very, very happy to be back with Tower of God anime. I think I'm going to try to review every episode and would go from there. Because just like season 1, the anime does have to cut out certain things from the manhwa in order to maintain the pacing that they want to cover everything that they need to do. So, let's get into it. The first thing to notice is that, yeah, we do have a new animation studio, so that's why the art style looks different. The new animation studio is the Answer Studio, and the new art style is more cleaner, which is in line with a lot of modern anime. And while season 1 did have a really older, unique, rougher art style, I really liked it. But again, it's subjective as to whether or not you like the art style. And for the most part, I like the art style for season 2. It's cleaner, it's, I would say, less unique, right, than season 1. But overall, things still look great, so I don't really have any issues with the art style. And a lot of the scenes looked really good, like the Shinsu, even the flames, just like the character expressions as well. So while the art style is different, I don't think it's going to be a problem for me and probably for a lot of people moving forward. As I mentioned before, the dialogue does get cut a bit as well to keep pacing, because similar to season 1, the studio seems to be wanting to cover around 5 chapters of the manhwa per episode, and there is a lot that happens in these manhwa chapters. They're not like manga where they have a fixed number of panels. Manhwas do have different pacings. So it's going to be interesting to see how they keep the pacing going forward and what they decide to remove or tweak or even add going forward. All right, so let's talk about the actual episode now. We start off in one of the towers of Jahad. We get a reunion between different princesses. So we have Yuri Jahad, one of the princesses of Jahad, so she's one of the very special characters in the show. And she has an encounter with Maschenny, and Maschenny is from the Kun family, so she's also a Jahad princess from a royal family. And Maschenny is an older sister, so she kind of looks down on Yuri a little bit and kind of teases her, noting that Yuri might be a little too young to have 2 of the 13-month series, which again, from season 1, Yuri was able to retrieve both the Black March that she lended to Bomb and also the Green April, which she got from Anak. And Yuri, being the first princess since Garam to possess 2 of the 13-month series, says to Maschenny, hey, maybe I'm way better at this than you, so maybe you should just give me your Yellow March. So it does establish a kind of sibling rivalry between the 2 sisters. And we move on to the owner of this palace, Repellista Jahad, another princess. The thing to note here is that if we remember from season 1, Yuri does have a fascination with Bomb because she's always been interested in irregulars, and irregulars are always known to have brought change and chaos to the tower, which makes life more interesting to Yuri. Repellista seems to be a princess that's kind of a lazy gamer who just stays inside and plays video games all the time, but she does seem to have some kind of omnipotent powers because Yuri asks her to help her find Bomb. And this is an interesting plot point because it establishes that the tower and the Jahad family believes that Bomb is dead from the floor of tests, but Yuri doesn't, and so she wants help looking for him. And Repelisa kind of obliges and says, okay, fine, I'll try looking for him, but you owe me a favor for this, which we don't know what that is. And what we see is that Repelista has control of a bunch of lighthouses, which goes to show how omnipotent she has, being able to see a lot of things happening throughout the tower. And one important detail that for some reason the anime decided to leave out, which the manhwa did clearly establish that the events of season 1 happened 5 years ago, because Repelista tells us that the irregular Bomb, he came to the tower 5 years ago. And there are 2 different interesting things with that, which is one, it took Yuri 5 years to get to Repelisa's palace, and she's still wondering about Bomb. So time flows very differently at the tower, where 5 years can be kind of in no time to the people in the tower. Yeah, and so the other thing is that the time skip is 5 years. So that's how much time has passed. Another plot point that Repellista foreshadows is that there's going to be the return of the Prince of Jahad, which leads us into the intro of our new protagonist, Wangnan Ja, or Oji in Japanese. So from here, they're also going to be keeping the Japanese meaning of the Korean names in Japanese dub. So similar to how bomb is pronounced as yoru in Japanese, because bomb in Korean means night, and in Japanese, yoru means night. So with Ja Wangnan, in Korean, there's an interesting point here because if we were to reverse his name, so Nan Wangja, that translates to I am the prince, and similar here with Japanese, Oji means prince. So basically, it's telling us that this guy is the Prince of Jahad, visually indicated with the ring that he wears, the red ring with the symbol, the three eyes of Jahad. Wang Nan is an interesting protagonist because he kind of shows a different personality from Bomb, where Bomb has always been more reserved and more quiet. Wang Nan is more louder, he's more determined, he has a goal in mind, and won't give up to reach that goal. We're in the 20th floor, so this is 18 plus floors away from the first floor of tests. And life here is much more difficult because this is the first entry into being a E rank regular, where a lot of test takers fail this test due to its difficulty. And trying to go up the tower does take money because you do have to pay to take the tests. So a lot of people, because they fail the test, they end up accumulating a lot of debt. And this is similar with Wang Nan here because he's borrowed a lot of money from a loan shark, and the loan shark is pretty much wanting to get the money back immediately, but Wang Nan doesn't have any money. So it's really like his last chance to take this test to ascend the tower because he does want to be the king of the tower. And he's kind of been in very unfortunate situations because he's taken the test so many times. He's even gotten paired with a teammate that has ended up burning him. So it just ends up being just very unlucky for him overall. If he were to have a luck factor, it would be very low rank, like a D or lower rank. So for this test, the test is after 30 minutes, everyone remaining will have passed. And Tower of God always does a cool thing with this test where there's always some kind of nuance to the test, where it's like the obvious choice doesn't always have to be the most optimal choice. So, for example, in season one of the tests that were very interesting was having to decide the right door between 12 different doors within 10 minutes, but you only had one chance. And the catch here is that it wasn't about finding a 1 in 12th possibility, but rather it was just trying to make a decision of any door within 10 minutes. So it was trying to get determination as the key factor. Just make a choice. And I've always liked these tests about Tower of God where it tests some things other than just pure strength. Both your mental strength, your physical strength, and also just your will, your overall determination. So with this current test, it is within 30 minutes, whoever is remaining will pass the test. And so it becomes a question of, well, do we need to fight? Can we just get along? What's the deal here? So when Wang Nan joins the test, he immediately goes, well, I just have to beat everyone, right? Because everyone's always so competitive taking these tests. It only makes sense that we forsake everyone else for ourselves. And so when he enters, we see this mysterious figure, this long-haired character in a black overcoat. Very shadowy, very mysterious, and has beaten everyone else single-handedly by himself. And yeah, the anime has pretty much made it obvious that this is Bomb. And I wanted to mention something interesting when I read the manhwa for the first time here, because I kind of did overlook the fact that the time skip was 5 years. And so I didn't really think that this was Bomb because I wasn't aware of a time skip. And so I didn't think it would be Bomb because his hair is just really long. As I slowly pieced together the puzzle and just thought about, oh wait, it's been 5 years since the floor of tests happened. Then it slowly dawned on me that, wait, holy cow, this is Bomb. What happened to him? Why did he become more powerful? Well, that's really cool. He definitely got training. But also, why did he become more cold? Why is he so mean? Like, he's not the same person we knew from the floor of tests. He used to be kind. He used to be nice. He used to have a light in his eyes. But now he's cold. He's very antisocial. And just overall, he seems to have regressed into the lonely state that he was first seen in when he was with Rachel. And we know that being lonely is one of the traits that Bomb never wants to be in again. It just made me wonder what happened to him. what made him turn out this way? Like something bad happened. And it just made me want to keep reading the story. It's one of the beauties of season 2 is that there's just so much character development because it has been 5 years since everyone has seen him and it's been 5 years since he's seen his friends. It's like so much time has passed. So, one of the differences between here and the manhwa that I noticed immediately is that the anime decides to show Bomb's eye, whereas the manhwa keeps it hidden. Yeah, and there's a nice comedic relief here where Wangnan knows that he's pretty much outmatched by this character. Well, I'm just gonna say Bomb. So basically outmatched by Bomb, and so decides, okay, I can't take him on, so maybe we can have a truce and then just team up against the rest of the crew. So he's always determined, and when the next person comes in, he also gets pretty much outmatched due to the size of this new character. And so, to comedic relief, we get another scene where he just has him join the crew instead of trying to fight. And this repeats on, which I think is a very funny dynamic. So I think they captured the comedic aspect quite well from the manhwa. And we have one more character to join us, this new grayish character. And he looks the most, I would say, smug of the crew so far. So you would think right off the bat that, yeah, this guy, he seems like a douchebag. And so the first thing he suggests is, hey, let's not fight, but we can also just vote out people we don't want and we think would just fail the test. So he votes out Misang, the kid. And so you think, oh, wow, why are you doing that to a kid? And so, of course, we don't really know anyone's name so far, nor their motivations/intentions, like their true motivations. But I do appreciate that a lot of these scenes that we see here, a lot of the character traits that we see here do play a part in the future. They're going to come back in the future, and we're going to appreciate these scenes if we ever rewatch or reread the story. And now we get our first fight scene because Bomb tries to get rid of everyone. The animation is pretty good for the fight as well, so it looks fluid. The use of Shinsu and just the overall fighting movements all look pretty good to me. So I was really happy with how this is going. So I hope that as more Shinsu is showed later on and just more different fighting effects are seen, they're as clean as this. I like the use of dynamic camera angles, and I just like that the character traits, that different people's character traits are being shown throughout their fighting. Now again, Bomb is just being a badass, and his use of Shinsu is really good. Again, he's a wave controller, and it's revealed that he's a part of FUG, or a Slayer nominee. So FUG is a group that opposes Jahad, so they're like an antagonist of the King of the Tower, a crime syndicate. And because we associate FUG with being a criminal syndicate, the people aren't supposed to mess with FUG. It's kind of like the equivalent of messing with the mafia. Like, you just don't mess with them. And so because Bomb is part of FUG, it makes us question, well, what happened to him? Why is he even part of this criminal syndicate? This pure, reserved, and just overall kind boy seems to have just reverted back to a lonely figure that he never wanted to be at again. It seems like he's at rock bottom, the place that he wanted to avoid at all costs. So just super excited to see how we handle his character development and see how strong he is. Just like how his goals have changed, what he thinks of Rachel, trying to continue pursuing Rachel, any newfound determination, or even any newfound weaknesses, right? Right, there's this contrast of being on the floor of tests where he passed because he made new friends. Now he's trying to go up the tower and not have any teammates, just getting rid of any other test takers in the area. So it's a nice contrast to his character. I keep yapping about his character, but I do find that just the themes and the overall portrayal of his character is really well done. And so I'm just very overall looking forward to what's going to happen next. So in terms of the manhwa, we basically just cut down on a lot of dialogue and some kind of exposition, but I think that the overall scene is established pretty well. So we're on the 20th floor. This test of trying to make it to E rank regular is pretty difficult. There are a lot of retakes, there's debt being accumulated because we're trying to get money to take these tests. We have a new protagonist, Wangnan Ja. He's a prince of Jahad. We don't exactly know what that means or what that entails, but let's see what happens moving forward. And then we also still have Bomb, who has become very more powerful, but at the same time also just more lonely. A state that he never wants to be in, so why is he climbing in this state? Like, what's next for him, and what happened to him that made him turn out this way? So we're gonna keep watching, we're gonna get more answers, and just overall very, very happy with this episode. and very hyped to be back with Tower of God. That's gonna be it for me. I'm gonna try to cover every episode as they come out. Hopefully I can continue doing that. And yeah, thank you for watching this video as always. We have a lot to look forward to with this new season. Yeah, catch you all next week.